This is Spinnaker 3, and I don't have a Magneto for this Summer of Pain challenge. And you know what I say? No mags, no problem. I'm going to be getting the mutant objective here with Sunspot. And now this Sunspot is rank 1. I'm using the 10%, the lowest level boosts across the board. So this is about elevating him to what he would be at an R2. But what makes Sunspot great for this fight is those incinerates that he puts on the opponent gives him the ability to perfect block. And Sunspot's dashback is good enough that you can do a dashback parry and not actually take any block damage from that combo, because what's happening is you're perfect blocking one hit, which means 0 damage, and you're making him avoid throwing his specials, which means that you're not actually going to be taking any damage from this actual encounter. Now, obviously, that isn't going to be the case in the end. I'm going to be taking some block damage, if I miss a parry or if he actually throws his special one into my block. But the idea here is that this is a lot more safer, at least for building up my steadfast charges, that it makes the fight go by a lot quicker. Now, you also may notice that I threw my special one. And what my special one gives me is it gives me 2 flare states. And those flare states are very important because they boost up my base attack to a point that makes this fight a little more enjoyable to play. Now, unfortunately, I did end up losing it right before the special 3, but I'm going to cycle it over again and you'll see what I mean. So right now, Darkhawk is in the shield mode, and I do play it a little passive here, but as I go through this fight, this was actually like my second time taking the fight, I learned that, you can hit him when he's stunned, and because you have a perfect block, you get an extra long parry stun. But let's cover what goes on right now. So I'm going to throw my special 1, and what my special 1 will do is it'll give me 2 flare state charges. And like I said, those flare state charges are important because they boost up my damage, and they make me apply more incinerates. Because my Sunspot is not awakened, I only have 80 charges to work with. So getting a flare state means it's going to make it a lot more tricky to actually keep my 2 flare states up, but 2 is the sweet spot for this fight. Because I know that since my Sunspot is unawakened, 80 charges, 2 flare states should actually last, because every hit will spend 2 charges. And the thing with Sunspot's charges is that I can get them back with the special 3. So my goal here is that right before I'm about to run out, like you see right here, I throw my special 3. And now what this is going to do is this is going to propel me to be able to let my 2 flare states have unlimited uptime pretty much. Because as soon as I throw this special 3, I'm back to 80 sun charges, those flare charges. And what those do for me is that they give me more hits that I can do with my higher attack. They let my flare states stay on longer, and they let me incinerate Darkhawk. And those incinerates are what is giving me the perfect block. And you notice that when I perfect block, I not only reduce the damage to 0, but I also gain a bit of power. I believe it's 10% of a bar of power, which is definitely helping fuel me to my special 3 quicker. Now, one thing to note is that if you do have an awakened Sunspot that's close to max sig, I imagine that you could get this fight done with 3 flare state charges, which will make it go by so much quicker, because at max sig, you have about 120 charges to work with, give or take a few. And so that should definitely last you with 3 flare state charges, but I don't have an awakened Sunspot. But you know what? My rank 1 is still putting in a decent chunk of work. I have taken a few unparried hits that is definitely depleting my health a little faster than I'd like. So I'm almost like head-to-head in this health race, but I should make it up over time. Now, like I said, because I get that perfect block chance, I have a very increased parry stun duration, which means that I'm actually able to land my 4 hits and back off. Another thing that's important about that is that I'm able to land my 4 hits and back off while Darkhawk is stunned, which means he's not going to throw his special when I'm dashing back, which is something that I've encountered with a lot of different champions, is that when you do the 4-hit combo and dash back, sometimes Darkhawk does throw his special right as you're dashing back. But because my stun lasts long enough that I can throw the 4 hits and dash back before he recovers, I'm able to just maintain that stun until I'm holding block, in which case he doesn't throw his special while I'm just holding block. And so that just makes this fight rotation just go so smoothly. And you've basically seen the entire fight after seeing like the first 2 rotations, because it's just rinse and repeat from here. His shield mode is up, so I can only hit him when he's stunned, but my increased parry duration means that he's only stunned for when I'm going to be hitting him, if that didn't made any sense, because my incinerates are giving me 4 hits into a parry stunned opponent. So I could actually be knocking him down a little more, but in my mind, it was a trade off between I could either get myself to a special 3 faster and potentially get more flare states and increase my damage, or I can play it very safe like I'm doing right now and not have him reduce my damage, because when he's in his shield mode, even if I can hit him when he's parried, I still get a damage reduction. And you'll notice that coming off of this special 3, he will have his shield up, and you can just see that the damage that I'm doing is far reduced just because he gains a lot of armor rating when he's in that shield mode. And so I'm going to just try and only hit him like not as many times, and I don't want to trigger that shield mode as much as I possibly can. So I'm only doing it when it's absolutely necessary with the original special 1 and the special 3. Right there, you notice he threw a special 1. That's the first special 1 he has thrown in this entire fight. And that's been like, what, 80% health down? Like, the point of this is that any champ can use the strategy that I'm doing with Sunspot, but they're going to be taking a significant amount of block damage. However, with Sunspot, because I get those perfect blocks, I'm able to survive this fight with a rank 1. No Magneto required. You know, Magneto, if you've seen any videos, he is definitely the better option, but I don't have a Magneto. So I needed to get the villain objective with Ghost, and I ended up getting the mutant objective here with Sunspot. So the fight is nearing a close. I'm at 240 hits, which is kind of surprising because my solo with Ghost actually ended up taking a few more hits than this one, but that's probably due to the fact that the flare state is just boosting my damage to a point that's crazy, where my rank 1 Sunspot is able to out damage in terms of like damage per hits my rank 3 Ghost. So I think that's pretty cool, but right here, I'm so close to ending the fight. I just don't want to slip up anytime. And I'm thinking I could maybe end it with a special 2, but in this 5-hit combo, Darkhawk goes down. And that's the mutant objective secured without Magneto. So if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, comment on who you use for the Darkhawk boss and specifically the mutant objective, and I'll catch you later.